Grant, I just want you to do the proper introduction, the way that you know how, the fanboy style of LeRoy. Yeah, just go ahead, Kyle, cook, because he can hear you.
Yeah. Well, I can cook because I grew up a Bears fan, LeRoy, so I know if you go into Lambeau Field between the years 1990 and 2001, don't throw it anywhere close to 36 because he's going to get it, he's going to return it, and he's going to jump in the stands. We see all these celebrations now, Parent Trap handshakes and dances. This guy is the godfather of the celebrations in the modern era, the Lambeau Leap, the game, the Hall of Fame. LeRoy Butler has always had it going on. It's a privilege to have you on, man. Great to see you.
Thank you so much, Kyle. I really appreciate that. And being a Bears fan, I apologize.
Oh, but you're not.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears are the reason you're in the Hall of Fame, LeRoy.
All right. So you also have a relationship with a dad of a prospect in the NFL draft. And we're going to get to this hour. This guy played for years and friends for years with Deion Sanders, which inherently you know that he knows the family. Tom Pelissero, you came out with an article last night on NFL.com assessing all 18 quarterback prospects, or not all, but 18 of the quarterback prospects. Who did you speak to around the league? How did you garner all of these opinions? And where is the headline leading us today?
It's an annual exercise. Coaches, scouts, GMs, other executives try to get to the real answers. Because if you just listen to press conferences, every guy is a first-round pick. Everybody's a great player. This is just trying to get both positive and negative, the strengths and the weaknesses of all the different quarterbacks. Certainly, there was a heavy focus on Shedeur Sanders and trying to peel back all the different layers of it. You certainly have some positive opinions about Shedeur as a player in terms of what he put on tape in college. He was the Big 12 Conference Player of the Year. He was a second-team All-American. If you stack up his wow throws, as one executive told me, he's probably got the best collection of those over the whole entire crop. Just other stuff. It's the ability to do stuff from structure in the pocket, checkdowns, the easy gimmies. But if you want to isolate the high level, high degree of difficulties, then to me, there's a difference between him and the other guys. You certainly saw that with Shedeur. The questions are going to become, is Shedeur the player about, all right, he's not the biggest guy. He doesn't have the biggest arm. He doesn't have the elite athletic profile that his father once did. So how is he going to adjust his play style? Is he going to be able to play a little bit differently? Then obviously there's other questions because this is a player who comes from a different background than anybody else. This is one of one. There are not many guys that grow up with the greatest athlete of all time as their father, much less their coach, all the way through youth football to high school to college. There's a lot of things that people are trying to figure out about how is he going to survive and thrive in an NFL type of a locker room. You remember walking in once upon a time to an NFL locker room. It's just a different type of an environment to the extent that he had interviews. Some of them did not go well at all. And this is one quote that I'm sure is going to be played all over the internet, but it's the worst formal interview I've ever been in. Entitled, takes unnecessary sacks, never plays on time, horrible body language, blames teammates. That obviously is the most negative comment that was in the story. You can read all 2,200 words and about 12,000 words on all the quarterbacks. But certainly that was a feeling. That was not unanimous or, not unique to one person. That's something I heard from a variety of different people. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody feels that way. It sounds like his interview with Pittsburgh, for instance, went really well. You know Deion. You've known him for a long time. You've watched a lot of Shedeur. What do you make of Shedeur, the person, the prospect, as he heads toward the NFL?
The thing about the NFL quarterback is that's the one position you want to try to get right. The thing about Shedeur, ever since you can just tell the pedigree, but he's built for this. And I'll be very honest with you. I remember seeing Aaron Rodgers, who was supposed to go #1 overall, and went 24. And he's just sitting there and sitting there. I've seen other guys that, go #1 overall, and they turn out to be busts. In my opinion, the longer he stays on the board, the better it is for him. You go to better teams. If you go to them teams in the top 8, 9, 10, you're going to lose a lot. So I think for the most part, he's built for whatever, and I think he's ready because he's going to make a difference wherever he goes.
Kyle?
Well, this is a LeRoy, a guy who was hanging around till the 48th pick. He knows all about this. But you also, LeRoy, listen, elephant in the room, you go way back with Deion. You guys are both Florida State defensive backs in the same era. You've known him, I imagine, since the 80s. What do you make of this factor that maybe a team like Shedeur as an athlete in a vacuum, but doesn't want Deion hovering, doesn't want the extra media prestige and all that comes with drafting a Sanders? What do you make of that?
Kyle, I'm confused because first I've heard that if you didn't grow up with your father, you'd be a criminal. because that happens. So now you grew up with your father and you get bad press. The same thing, who I think is the GOAT, LeBron James with Bronny. The thing about Deion, he's a fantastic father. But yes, his kids want to be like their father, and they're going to pave their own way. But nobody said it was going to be easy. The criticism doesn't really bother most people. What bothers them is that you're unfairly comparing them to somebody else. Because at one point, I thought he was going to be the number 1 pick over Cam. But now Cam has emerged, for whatever reason people have it. But we know how the NFL is, Kyle. All you need is an opportunity. Once you get that opportunity, but he needs to do like Jordan Love did. Go somewhere on a great team, and you can sit for a couple of years and just take over. You don't have to start from scratch, because you could be, I'm sorry, Kyle, you could be like Caleb and get sacked 2,000 times. That doesn't help.
You just got sacked again. Man, good job, LeRoy.
LeRoy's going to conduct an hour-long roast here on Good Morning Football.
No,
Kyle and Ferris.
Started it.
I love Kyle.
Keep going.
Kyle.
Nope, keep going.
Hey, Caleb's
Keep
last
going.
start was a win in that building. You can look it up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she's
Hey,
right.
you're right about that. You're right about
right.
that. But
Go
LeRoy,
ahead.
you said something important. You talked about pedigree. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. People try to compare Shedeur to his pops, Deion Sanders, and think that the athlete's, supposed to be the same, and they're knocking him because the athlete isn't the same. But you mentioned that word pedigree, and I tell people all the time, Archie Manning, he was a good athlete, but his sons wasn't the best athletes, right? But he knew what to teach him. He knew the answers to the test to make them successful in the National Football League. And that's how I look at Prime and Shedeur Sanders. Yes, Shedeur's not going to go out there and run a 4-3 or 4-2 or anything like that. He's not going to throw the ball 100 yards. But what he does understand how to do is how to operate with a subpar offensive line. He does know how to operate when there's chaos going on around him. And if you're going to go in the first round, especially with a lot of these guys, they want to go in at the top of the first round, just like you said, LeRoy, there's going to be chaos on those teams. So you better get a guy that understands how to deal with it and is truly a force multiplier. I talked about it earlier in the show. Tom Brady would have probably still went in the 6th round. Right, this year. I mean, he's not a guy that's going to run real fast or throw the ball 100 yards. It wasn't until hindsight where you look back and you call him the greatest winner ever. I look at Shedeur Sanders in that wave. I'm not calling him Tom Brady, but I look at him in that mold.
I like that.
Yeah, I think for the most part, real quick, 71.4 completion. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I want a guy who keeps the ball out of harm's way, who can run a pro-style offense, and if you want to run the ride and decide and a check at the line, he's your guy.
But can he do this, LeRoy? That's the question. Is he going to be able to move around again and extend plays and be backing up and throwing off his back foot and complete these passes? If you were playing DB against him, I imagine you're licking your chops watching this.
Well, I think the thing about it is the arm string, and he throws wide receiver friendly balls, back shoulder to the hip. Where do you want it? Outside in. Those are the kind of traits he should talk about more, because he was the best in college football at that. If it's a fade route, he asks Travis, where do you want it? And he puts it on that spot. If a quarterback does that, you don't need to have a strong arm to do that. You just got to have the mentality to take that from the classroom to the field. And that's what I like about it. Look where you see all these passes. They're exactly
great
where
accuracy, great touch.
That's where the receiver wants it, away from us. Because if you throw it to us, he's going to get hurt. Throw it down low like that. These are the kind of throws that I like. That only his receiver can get it. He's the only quarterback that can do that. To me, that's very valuable.
Emra, what do you got?
Yeah, I think, and I know we talked about Chicago in this conversation as well, but when you look at Caleb Williams a year ago, Tommy P, to your point, a lot of the running around that happened in college, he was having guys wide open in the flat, but he'd run around to show the arm talent. I don't always see that in Shedeur. Shedeur had to run around because the offensive line stunk in front of him. I know he wouldn't say that, but that was the reality of it. So he had to move around. If he has a better offensive line, the kid gets the ball out on time. I like Shedeur.